Welcome to A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie. Hello, my name is Bruce. This is my only hand to count. And I'm with my lovely co host tonight, Miss Janet from Another Planet. We are watching, or we actually watched this is episode 45, a movie called Imaginationland. How did you like it, Janet? Janet? Mute? Mute? You're still on mute.
How's this?
Much better.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was hilarious.
Ah,
I thought it was really good, but I love South Park, so uh, I
it
think
is.
anyone that likes South Park is going to love this movie.
It's from episode. It's. I'm sorry. I'm loud. How's that? Am I super loud? Hey, Flady, how you doing?
The intro was really loud for sure.
My bad.
That's okay. I survived. But wasn't this like 3 episodes?
3 episodes all at
Hmm.
once.
Yeah, all at once. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I need to turn my volume down a little bit? Here, I'm going to try it.
Okay. Um.
Is that
I
better?
Yeah. Testing. 1 2.
I
We
asked
sounded great to each other backstage, but you turn on the internet and it's like, oh,
Yeah, I'm super loud. But the mic's over to the side too. It's not even right in front of me.
yeah. My mic is over here, and as you can tell by my arms, I'm like right behind me, where you see the action. Um.
Okay, she says it's good now, or they say it's good. Is Bowsette a guy or a
It is
girl? It's a
guy,
guy. Okay, I'm sorry. Um,
army mechanic.
but thank you
Maybe.
for telling us so we don't blast everybody's ears out.
This movie came out in what was it, 2007, and it was originally conceived as a sequel to Bigger, Louder, and Uncut,
Hmm.
and I love this film. I I'm just gonna say if you've not seen this film, if you've not seen Imagination Land, it's probably the best indicator how South Park would age.
Hmm. Definitely.
Not that they've done anything poorly in the recent past. They've done really well. They had the post-COVID special, and then like 2 weeks ago, they put out the greatest just episode I've watched in a year or two. They put
No,
out
the Prince.
yeah, the Prince and
Meghan
Markle.
Markle. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, bitch, yo,
Read my
Instagram on me,
book.
bitch wife.
I want you to buy my book. God, that was so funny. I mean, but the thing is that after all this time, that they still have so much creative juices still. I mean, how they can talk to each other to write the scripts and stuff by just going by common sense. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that I noticed about this episode. Because I hadn't seen Imagination Land for whatever reason. I don't know what I missed or why I missed it, but I mean, it seems like I tune in more now when it's like hyped up, a hyped up thing like with the Prince and Meghan Markle or whatever. But they it, they're just geniuses. I mean, after I saw South Park the movie with the Saddam Hussein and the devil and all that stuff, I was like, I left just thinking, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they can look at everything with such detail and then have it come out of 3 different kids, basically. One's a narcissistic snob, basically, that is self-absorbed, which is Cartman, and then you got Kyle, and he's the one that's level-headed, that thinks things through, and fights to be independent, to be himself and not let other people talk him into things. So I love it. And then they take like regular people and put them in the different characters, for the show, like Cartman's mother and how she acts, and then the different ones of how they're different religions, and uh, it, I just love it. I just love all of them. They're so talented. But this one was really way over the top, way more than I expected, from you and I were watching. I was like, holy shit. Watching some of these scenes, we're like, you got to be kidding. They get away with some of this stuff. Saying the F word and the GD and, I just couldn't believe it. But we were watching the director's cut. So had a little bit more of the gooey details in there. But also, I'll let you talk.
It's good. Oh no. Balzette said they bent the knee to Islam, which is partially true, not really, because Parker and Stone made an episode in 2010 called 201 or Super Best Friends, which all the religious figures of the world are actually cool with each other and they just kind of do things together like the Super Friends do. And Muhammad is in there. He's got control of fire, and they drew Muhammad. And initially, like, everybody liked it until it hit like the syndication run or the repeat, and then like that was when all of the people in a certain region of the world primarily got pissed because somebody drew Muhammad. Not supposed to do that. So Comedy Central enforced a censorship bar. And anytime Muhammad speaks, it's just beep. But there's places on the internet where you can actually go and watch them. It's just you have to kind of navigate the high seas a little bit. Get a VPN. And
see, that wasn't the two Trey and them doing it. It was the network that did it.
Yeah.
So they didn't censor themselves.
No, they did not do any self-censorship. And this was at a time where the Charlie Hebdo bombings were still fresh in everybody's mind. Mm-hmm. Hey, Crafting Gamer, how you doing? So, I mean, South Park just loves to slap the shit out of everybody and everything with no regard. I don't give a fuck who you're offended.
I know, and that's good. That's what's wrong with comedy today, is that we've lost that. I mean, everybody should be open season. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, a kid. I mean, it's not for kids. I wouldn't let my kids watch anything on South Park.
We're going to disagree on that a little bit. Like if you've got a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah, 13, that's a teenager. That's different. I'm talking about kids, 6, 7, 8, 9. Little kids. I would not let a 9-year-old watch what we watched last night. There's no way.
I can understand that.
When he's talking about going through the gate and he's like, and they're seeing the little creatures, and they're like, oh, look, they're so cute and everything. He's like, there's like, what's happening? What's happening? He's like, they're raping me. I mean, stuff like that is not for a 9-year-old to be watching. Are you going to say different?
Yeah, I felt the Woodland Animals was a callback. There was a Super Tree Friends show way back in the day where these Super Tree Friends, and it wasn't anything South Park. There was just like animated woodland creatures that like they practiced the same level of gore as Watership Down, which is a 1970s, late 70s. Rabbits try to teach young kids about loss and politics.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
That you watch that as a child to get traumatized. Because we had an English teacher that did that to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm a mom, and I'm telling you, there's some things that I just would not want my child to watch, and there's just no reason to watch it. So, like when I told you before that when I went to see South Park the movie, okay, and I saw the trailer, and then I'm standing in line, and I see all these people with these little kids, like 6-year-old kids with them. I'm like, you brought your kid to see this movie?
To see Saddam Hussein butt fuck Satan?
Yeah, and the thing is, like I told you, the one part in that movie was where I saw a documentary and they interviewed, I think it was Trey. They were both in it, but one of them said that they were getting in trouble because they were told that they were doing copyright problems because of they cut out penises at a porn magazines and stuff, and they had put them in there and they were moving them around and stuff. for the scene with all the penises with Saddam Hussein and the Satan, right? Scene. And they were told they couldn't use those because those are copyright because they belong to other people. So one of them, I don't remember which one, took pictures of their own penis and they used it. So, so I'm just saying, I wouldn't have to want to go home and explain to my 6-year-old what all that meant or what all that was, and then get called by the teacher the next week saying your son is talking about all these penises that he saw with Satan and Saddam Hussein and all this stuff. Would you want that? Get that phone call, Bruce?
Okay.
No, you wouldn't. It's embarrassing.
I can handle the phone call. Oh, we have to go to a parent-teacher conference. This will be fun.
I mean, you
Let
could
me
get in
grab some
trouble.
whiskey
I mean, they could think that you're some kind of psycho that, like the whole thing with the drag racing, the drag queens and stuff, stripping and stuff in front of kids. To me, that's not any different than letting them watch something as gruesome as some of the stuff that we watched last night.
I would much rather my kids watch South Park or Happy Tree
Well, me
Friends. Or
too,
something
but
that's
I'm talking about little things that, like they're raping me. Okay, and those little things like that, I just don't think are appropriate for children that small.
It's not
A
appropriate for
teenager,
children.
it's totally different. 13 is old enough to understand
Yeah.
what most of this stuff is. I'm talking about anybody under 13. I wouldn't recommend they watch it. I don't think it's good.
The schools are not going to call you if they're like giving your kids like the super pill to turn their sex to something not that you want,
Yeah.
They're going to give you a call if your kid's like thinking a Bible on the playground and like preaching the gospel. We had to take your son in because he was getting a little bit, MLK, and we can't have that. What? But no, if your kid puts on makeup and he's a boy dressed up in a dress, like, oh, it's perfectly fine. This is normal.
But I don't know. It's just, to me, I'm just adamant about that. When it comes to children, they're children. They're not old enough to make those type of decisions. They don't understand the damage it could do by watching some things. And I'm glad my parents were just, tried to do the best they could to make sure that we didn't get introduced to things before we were ready. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't really have any, I'm not afraid of spiders. I'm not afraid of snakes. I'm not afraid of rats or anything, that it's weird, because I just wasn't exposed to stuff at too young of an age. My parents just let us be kids and kept us, I believed in Santa Claus and, all that stuff for a long time. I'm probably longer than most kids, but we were allowed to be kids. And I wish more people would let their children just be children. And that's one thing I loved about this, the whole thing about imagination, about what's real to me may not be real to you, Sure. And I love that whole concept. And that's what I'm talking about. The deep thought process that goes in to when these two guys sit down and write something. They're actually thinking way past what you're just visualizing in a cartoon. And if you really pay attention to it, there's so much complexity in there. It's just amazing to me. And it takes you a while. You could watch it 5 times and it would go, over your head. But the 5th time or 6th time you watch it, like, I finally get that part. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was great. But, you can always just say, Blame Canada.
True. The only thing I did not like about it is that I've not watched all of South Park. I've got to do it. I know I've got to watch all the episodes. Don't badger me, kids. Sorry. But I wasn't certain what happened to Man Bear Pig because Man Bear Pig used to have Patrick Duffy for a leg.
Yeah.
No, he did. He had Patrick Duffy for a leg. It was like the first season of South Park. He had a Hillary Clinton-esque teacher, and he, gets introduced into the show by Cartman because Cartman's trying to scare everybody around the campfire. And we've got Patrick Duffy for a leg. And he does that. And
he did his voice really well.
It's been over 24 years on the TV. I have plenty of time to practice.
That's me.
Okay. So I really enjoyed it, and Cartman's trying to scare everybody. But when he's describing Man Bear Pig like he it was a real janky picture at the time, not the amazing animated sequence we got last night. Holy shit! The new Man Bear Pig, sans Patrick Duffy as a leg, is fucking amazing. It's great. And I enjoyed it.
That
But what
whole
happened to Patrick Duffy?
Yeah, the whole scene though, where each person was having to describe whether it was a man bear pig or pig man bear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
It's
whole
a
that whole
big
thing was
man
funny.
bear. And then here comes Al Gore.
But see, I don't know how they get away with that stuff and they're still on the air. I just it must be because they were one of the most popular shows after all this time that they can't take them off the air because they'd lose a fortune. You know what I mean?
Well, a couple episodes after Imagination Land ends, there's an entire episode dedicated to Man Bear Pig. So I'll have to watch that. But no,
Yeah.
this is just we haven't even described the synopsis of this, but
Well, the thing is, what I had to go back and watch a couple pieces afterward again because I have it on my Apple, my Apple TV.
Mhm.
And the thing I didn't understand at the beginning, because I missed the very beginning, or for some reason, I don't know why I didn't get it, about Cartman capturing the leprechaun. Okay. And then he prevented the leprechaun from actually getting to go and warn the people in Imagination Land that something was about to happen, right?
correct.
So, because he wanted to get that picture to prove that there was leprechaun so he could get Kyle to suck his balls. So, Cartman is the whole reason all of it happens in the first place. You know what I mean? Because he's a self-centered little shit that is, wants to get his balls sucked by Kyle. So, that whole thing is, I was trying to figure out the whole time we were watching it, it was like, because I hadn't seen it, what happened and what started the whole thing. So I went back and I had to get to watch it, but I actually watched the other one that was made where they're already together. So I've got to find that part out, but I thought that was just hilarious because it's so typical of his character in every episode to be self-centered and selfish. So getting to see him in that one scene where he's trying to save his life, doing the chest compressions and everything, that was the only time I've ever seen Cartman where he actually cared. It seemed like he actually cared about
He
somebody
didn't
else.
care about him. He just wants his dick sucked.
I know, or his ball sucked. But yeah, but that was the first time I've ever seen him cry, and it seemed believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In
He
his
seemed like he
role in
cared.
a cartoon.
But then you have to realize that Cartman is only out there for one person, and that's himself. I mean, during the COVID the COVID episode, he had a stick that was 6 foot, and he would shove his mom away if she got too close.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Papa Cotton's like, okay, seriously, great effort for the show, but this is the worst costume Janet's had yet. And I'm like, Cotton, I should have ordered a puffy jacket for her. There was a South Park live event in Colorado last year.
What's wrong with this? It's a hoodie. That's why I was wearing it. It's winter.
It's you're in Colorado, like, for some odd reason.
I'm in the winter.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I was born in Canada, so I don't have to pretend. I was born in Newfoundland.
Okay. That's right. On air.
But what's wrong with my costume? What's wrong with what I'm wearing?
Uh-oh.
I'll let him tell me what's wrong with it. I was trying to dress wintry, but this would be better if you'd rather me do this. I can be this the whole episode.
Flady's like, should be at least an orange hoodie with a mask.
Well, I don't have an orange hoodie. I wish I did. I looked everywhere for my vest, my hunter's vest, but I couldn't find it. So, oh well.
Yeah, I know the feeling. This episode starts off with Cartman seeing a leprechaun, and then he has to go grab everybody to go like show, hey, make sure I'm right, and Kyle just has a real fit. He's like, why are we out here? Why are we doing this? And Cartman's like, guys, we're gonna find this leprechaun. I've seen it for three days now. And Kyle's like, bullshit. Cartman's like, no, I saw it. I swear. Kyle's like, no, you didn't. You
No
imagined it.
such thing. Yeah, you imagined it.
And when Cartman does find it, after he gets Kyle to sign a bet with a promise at the end of it, which that's the part about it that, like, I was like, do I really want to talk about Kyle sucking Cartman's cock? Because
Well, it's
I'm
not his
pretty
cock.
homophobic.
He's got to suck his balls. The
That's
balls
right.
are not the cock.
They're not the cock.
They're not. They're separate.
And
One is hairy and the other is not. Well, it's probably not hairy on a little kid like Cartman. But he said they were drying up, remember, and they're going to blow away from his nightmare. The nightmare where he's on the bus with that little old lady and he's worried his balls are going to dry up and blow away. It was so funny. Jesus. I just couldn't believe it. It was just, it was so compact with so much dirty innuendos. It was just hilarious. It was like, they're second graders, right?
yes.
Okay. Well, I thought it was older than second grade when boys started going through their, getting their urges of testosterone. I thought it was more pubescent, a little older than pubescent age, but that poor kid, I mean, Cartman is like loaded with testosterone or something because he's always talking about his balls and stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was funny. I'll be quiet now.
Flatey, just no, not Flatey. Crafting Gamer. This is the South Park movie, bigger, longer, uncut, is the '97 release, which I wish I didn't remember this like it was yesterday, but I remember it like it was yesterday because I went and saw that movie with friends of mine. That was the same time period where Beavis and Butthead put out a movie, and that was funny. But good God, like now the Mecha Streisand was at the end of the first season, and that was pretty much what I thought peak South Park was. And then in review, it doesn't really hold up as well. It's good. It's got some punch there, but it's not like post COVID. I thought post COVID was really damn good. And Flady's like, yeah, it's not about getting his rocks off. It's about humiliating Kyle. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's why he just wants him to suck his balls.
That's it. And the part
it's not like he's not trying to say, because Cartman doesn't want anybody to think he's gay. If you suck his cock, then if he said suck my cock, that means he's gay. But if you suck his balls, it's for humiliation, just like he was saying. So that's why he was adamant he wanted his balls sucked by Kyle, because I think Kyle is the only one that intimidates Cartman. You know what I mean? He's got that because he sees him eye to eye and he doesn't back down. You know what I mean?
No.
So that's why I love these two characters. That they're, I just adore these kids in this show, because if you could imagine what it's like to be best friends growing up together in a small town, a rural town, and seeing all the horrid things that these poor kids have seen. The humiliation of Butters, just everything they do. I mean, Cartman's a bully, he's a narcissist. I mean, he's everything. He's all the bad things rolled into one thing, and he's only second grade.
The names on the walkie-talkie when they're looking for the damn leprechaun.
Yeah,
that had me rolling because Cartman was throwing the word faggot out just like it was like 1993.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. How do they do it? How do these guys keep this show going I mean, I thought it was hilarious, and I have lots of gay friends, and I try not to be rude about it, but it's funny. You can't help but laugh at a lot of the stuff that they do, like I don't know. And sometimes you feel guilty. It's like a guilty pleasure, when you're watching this and you're like, holy shit! You just can't believe that they just did that on TV. Getting away with it because they said the F word. I don't know how many times
Yes.
in this movie, and they said the GD over and over again. They said faggot. They said, I mean, golly, I can't even tell you everything they said. And then the whole thing about him having to get him to imagine Santa Claus after all the other horrible stuff he just watched. People, the alien creature coming up to the what was it? The mayor that was singing the imagination song. And then
Imagination.
he comes up behind him, and you see that little face go come out of his chest, and he falls to the ground, and he's wallowing around in his own, feces in his stomach. It was just disgusting. And little Butters is over him, going, "What do I do? All you got to do is click your heels together." That whole scene, it was just, oh my God, it was so funny.
This show has retained its edge because they actually acknowledge how to do comedy.
Yeah.
And they don't have any sacred cows. There's no line they're not willing to cross for a joke. That's priceless in my opinion. And I think
that's comedy genius. That's they touch. It's like check, check, check. It's like they got a book and they go through and say, we got to do this, all the way down the list, and they check everything off. They touch everyone. I mean? It's not just, we're just going to go to those people and touch them. We're going to go here. We're going to go everywhere and grab everybody's ass. You know what I mean? That's what it's like. I mean, they're geniuses. I just don't know how they come up with so much good content. Like the whole thing, in the Pentagon, and they had that giant ring, like from Stargate SG-1.
yes.
And then the whole forest is like got the Yellow Brick Road from Wizard of Oz. It's just good. And then you're looking around through all the people in it, and you're recognizing Jesus, and you got the Good Witch Glinda, and you got, I can't remember the lion's name or the tiger. Yeah, the lion's name from the
Lion Witch and Wardrobe.
Yeah, that one. What was his name?
You're gonna make me look it up. Hold on.
I can't remember, but they just had everyone. They had Jesus. They had the Easter Bunny. It had what was her name? The one they were torturing in the woods, and they poked your eye out and put
Strawberry Shortcake.
Yeah, Strawberry Shortcake. I mean, it was like everybody from my childhood that I could remember was almost. I don't remember somebody they didn't have in this whole scenario. And then the little woodland creatures, the only movies I could think of were Disney movies. You got all the princesses running around, and they all have these creatures flying around and little birds, and them helping them fix their hair and all that stuff, these princesses, and that's those little creatures. And then you got Kurt Russell that goes through the big imagination tunnel or whatever they called it. I can't even remember what they called it, but they all go through and they're like, we see something in the distance. And they're like, what is it? The general's like, what is it? What is it? He goes, I don't know. It's getting closer. And then they go, oh, it's a cute little squirrel or talking squirrel or whatever they were going. How cute it is. And all of a sudden you hear screaming. You can't see anything. So you have to use your imagination. See that whole scenario. And he's like, what's happening? What's happening? He's like, they're raping me. It's like in Kurt Russell's voice. I couldn't stop laughing. And you miss so much that's going on because you're laughing, So I had to rewind and go back and watch it a couple times because it was so funny. Oh,
yeah, I didn't watch this particularly over again. We watched it at one time, and then I went on in through the season.
Yeah,
and I'm right at the point where Man Bear Pig is starting. Man Bear Pig. God.
Yeah.
Travis J. 1975. This is a classic. we're having almost as much fun talking about this as what we did about The Thing, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
it was getting to watch it, especially because I hadn't seen it before. And it's just like I said, it's really hard to try to watch it and enjoy it without trying to nitpick and try to absorb as much information as you can and focus on that, because that's what I was trying to do. But I missed so much because I was laughing. You can't help but laugh, and you feel guilty. It's like I said, it's like a guilty pleasure because you're laughing at poor Butters and the different things that are going on in there, and it was just funny. And then you have all these the terrorists, that are coming in and attacking people, and they're attacking little kids and beating them up, and it's just so far fetched in a lot of the things and it just went on and on and on until you go through this like cycle, you're like that you're shocked that they're doing it, and then you laugh, and then you go, "Ugh," and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it, and keep doing it, so you kind of get bored of it, and then you go back around to where you're so bored you start laughing again because it's so stupid. So I don't know. You go through all these ups and downs and like a roller coaster because of all the stuff that's going on all at one time. Because the lightning bolts are coming out of the window or the doorway, to Imagination Land, and that's when that pig, what was it? What was he called
Nightmare
again?
Pig.
Yeah, comes in and starts ripping people's heads off and ripping them in half and doing all that stuff. It was just gruesome. I mean, for a cartoon.
I liked it. I liked it because there are so many things that as I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, like, I could do this in my D&D game. I could do that in my D&D game. And then you get to see like the Minotaur get kind of like put in his place by the Happy Tree Friends characters, little woodland creatures that they're talking about, like, raping somebody or slowly raping somebody or just being just gratuitous about the description of what they're
They
going to do. And
I
all
know
the
they
other
took
bad guys are like,
everything you could
I love
think
it.
of when you were a kid, especially a girl, and you're watching all the Disney movies, and you got the princesses, and they're singing all these beautiful songs, and the little birds are laying on their shoulders, and the squirrels run up and bring her slippers, and it's just so sweet and wholesome and stuff. They took everything from that part of my past that I remembered, and they had them all looking up and then talking about all this horrid, terrible, nasty stuff they want to do to people. You know what I mean? It totally strips everything that you remembered as a young child about these little woodland creatures, and now you don't. You're like, don't go in the woods because you don't know what's going to happen to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
You're good.
oh, it's so funny. That whole scene was just hilarious with the strawberry shortcake in the woods.
Look out my eye.
They poked your eye. Oh, and that's when the woodland creatures start talking about what they want to do, to her and everybody else. That was terrible.
That was really good. I was really impressed.
I mean, I was impressed because I was shocked that the whole time I'm watching it, it was almost like watching there was a show I used to watch called, Piss in her eye, give her AIDS. And that one guy said, nobody here has
anybody with AIDS here.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, you heard me laughing, Bruce.
I think my favorite part about it was the blood orgy when they all came into Imagination Land and they did that riff on Saving Private Ryan where Ronald McDonald is looking for his severed arm.
Yeah.
And everything's in slow motion.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing, that one scene, that to me was one of the most intense scenes in the movie when the explosions were going off and you had that deafening sound where everything was like, it was like, and everybody was moving slowly because it was like time was standing still almost because everybody's lights flashing before their eyes or whatever. That whole concept of it. And you know how when a bomb goes off and you kind of like get that ringing in your ears and you can't hear, but everybody's doing things and you're trying to hear and absorb, but there's nothing, there's no sound because everybody's deafened because of the explosions and stuff. That whole scene was like with Kyle trying to look around and understand what was going on, but he couldn't hear anything. That was a really, genius. I mean, I can't think of any other word to put in there because it was just, I don't know. I don't even know what the word to use for it. It was just amazing how well they played that whole scene out.
I was amazed. I was shocked. Sorry, I just had a mug crack on me. So, I was amazed and I was shocked at how much fun I was having through it. And I want to do watch parties more often. I know that sounds terrible, but I was just laughing so damned hard, and I had to put myself on mute because I didn't want to drown out what you're hearing.
I know. I kept saying, "Oh, I'm laughing. I gotta shut up," because I know it's hard to concentrate and listen to what's going on, because especially when a lot of the scenes there was like 4 people all talking at the same time about different things, and lots of action going on all around in the scene. So your eyes are darting around trying to absorb, as much information as you can. And then the scene where Butters is trying to focus and imagine so he could bring Santa back, and then you get that line right in his face, and he's like, "Remember," You know what I mean? It just scare the crap out of you. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It was just so funny. The whole, every aspect of every little detail, it seemed like there wasn't gaps at all. There wasn't any gaps or editing issues, because it was like they had every base covered with every aspect of anything that you could imagine. And on top of it, they had so many different things that you couldn't absorb all of it. You know what I mean? You'd have to sit down. I guarantee if we sit down and watch it again, we'd laugh and we'd pick up more information, because it's packed with so much information. And in the fact that they were all having this huge discussion with these people from the Pentagon, and that one general or whatever says, "How do so many kids keep getting in here?" Just showing big holes in the government and how stupid some of these people are, that are running everything. It was like just those different aspects of so many different things, different levels of comedy. And it was just phenomenal. I just thought it was so entertaining. And I know it's not for everyone, because I know people, some of my friends are like, "I hate South Park. It's so stupid," but I think it's comic genius personally.
When I hear people say that, and it's typically the same people that say things like, "I don't like politics. I don't like talking about politics." Well, listen, fucker, if you don't think about politics, your life is going to be run roughshod over. You're going to have no choices that you can make over the course of time, and you getting older and losing control of your body functions because you didn't want to get involved with politics and think about what you were going to be legally able to do. Because eventually, if you let other people make decisions for you, the things you really enjoy become banned. And South Park is kind of a counterculture to this mass movement of stupidity. We don't talk about religion and politics. Well, fuck you. South Park has gone out there numerous times and made fun of everybody at no real injury to themselves. I mean, yeah, they initially they kind of got some bad press. Oh my God, they're making fun of Christ. Well, if your religion is so fucking shallow that your big thing can't be made fun of, that's pretty pathetic. The only way that a religion can prove itself is if it actually gets challenged, which is why Islam does such a poor job of standing up for itself. It doesn't. It fails on so many levels because the imams never let it get challenged. They never let the scriptures and doctrines get challenged properly. Sorry, but the South Park guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, heard enough crap when they were growing up about you can't talk about religion and politics. Well, guess what, kids? They made an entire career about talking about religion and politics, and it treated them pretty damn good. Now, not everybody's going to create their own South Park, but it did create conversation at the water cooler the next day, and the people that watch it and pay attention from fucking 20 years ago and have stayed mostly current with it are probably better, well-rounded, and well-adjusted individuals than these people that live in glass houses and have a house of cards mentality that think that it don't make fun of the things I like. Well, fuck you. I love it. Sorry. It just the entire time that they're making fun of the Department of Defense, talking about the kids getting in there and how they, for using millions of dollars, we've got this ring gate that we use to go to Imaginationland.
And they've been working on it for 60 years.
Yeah.
And they go, we're this close. We're this close. And he goes, you've been saying that for 60 years. So, little things like that, even though it was funny, and what's sad about it is it's factual, how much shit, just like the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Remember, after all that work that he went through and he gets the covenant, right? The Ark of the Covenant, and they take it and they put it in a big wooden box and they take it to this warehouse and put it on a shelf.
Top men.
Okay. With all the other shit that supposedly is so top secret and so important and everything. And they just treat it like it's nothing, like we're all nothing. And basically that's a little bit of what I got from some of the scenes in this. It was how the government thinks they know better than we do, but when they're in that room and they're all discussing about imagination, one saying, well, that's not true, the Easter Bunny's not true, and Santa Claus isn't true, but Jesus is real. There's no such thing as leprechauns, but Jesus is real. They just kept going back and forth, and then that's when the kids, I think it was Kyle that said that, well, just because it's not real to you doesn't mean it's not real to me, and they're the ones with logic, to think that it's your imagination for some and not for others. So, that everyone has their own beliefs type of thing. And I loved it. I thought the way that they viewed it and brought it out in the movie with visuals, you know what I mean? The visuals of it to make it absorb instead of someone just doing blah, blah, blah. You had to visualize what was going on and why they were saying what they were saying. And that is what makes it genius. That's what makes it so smart. And so they are using politics to a degree, but politics is everything now. I mean, sex, who you marry, where you want to live, where your job is. I mean, everything. They've made living your life, going to the grocery store political. So I don't know. I just think I would love to spend an afternoon just getting to sit and talk to these guys because they are so. They're just so on top of everything. I mean, you could tell that they pay attention to everything that's going on around the world to come up with all the stuff for all these episodes for so many years, and for them to still be entertaining. You know what I mean?
Correct.
I just think they're geniuses. I would love to shake their hands and just, get my picture taken with them and get their autograph or whatever, because these guys have, they just have it. They know they know so much stuff. They're so knowledgeable, and they're able to absorb it and retain it enough to actually see the comic side of it. I don't know, because you see so many people on Twitter and Facebook and all these other apps, and they're just constantly bitch and moan rah, 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 about I hate your point of view. You hate my point of view. I don't like you because of your hair. I don't like you because of your boobs, or I don't like you because of your skin color. Everybody's bitching and moaning about everything instead of stepping back and thinking about how the other people are looking at you, the way you're reacting to something. The comic of it. That's why the libs of TikTok got to be so big on Twitter. It's for the same thing. Actually just showing videos of other people just doing what they think they want to do. And we're all watching it going, who are these people? So you could see comics do stuff in their stand-up routine, right?
Mhm.
But then you can see these people on TikTok and some of these other things just doing something they probably do every day. And we're watching that and we're laughing our ass off because we're like, these are real people. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's sad that it's entertainment now. You know what I mean? But this is real people's points of view. And that's what these two guys are doing. They're taking that and they're writing it, put it in a script, and they're putting it in a story that's entertaining for pretty much anyone if they would sit and watch it, and showing you the clown world we actually live in. I
love
just
it.
love it. I just love everything they did. The giant sucker guy, they're going through the woods. It was like the Wizard of Oz. They're finding their worming their way through, and they're bumping into different things and seeing different things and trying to get to the right place so they can stop the battle and stop them from nuking imagination, land. So I just thought it just was more and more and more information being poured out. And it was, but it's entertaining and you're laughing the whole time as you listen and watch, and you're agreeing with everything they say because it's like, it's just so stupid. And it's sad because most of that stuff is real, the way the government runs things, the big bloated budgets and the dumb ways they come up with answers instead of using easy technology, which is common sense, that type of stuff. I don't get it, but
It'd be
that's
simple for us
reality.
just to put some natural gas wells all over America or in places where we found it before,
Hmm.
and that they have a generally low operating cost. They actually do, and because when they produce, and the natural gas is fairly profitable. But we can't do that. We got to destroy farmland and put up wind farms that don't pay for themselves, that fall over, that break, that use oil products to lubricate them. It makes zero fucking
And they have
sense.
electricity going to each of them too
Yeah.
already, and you can't recycle them. So you have giant boneyards filled with these humongous wings that spin around to make power that it's just a waste.
They don't really
Just
make
not
power. They
efficient.
never really make enough power to pay for themselves.
Mm-mm. Nope. Just like the
Um,
solar panels, though, you could cover your whole roof with solar panels, and it won't run your whole house. Your air conditioning, your dryer, your refrigerator, your blow dryer, all your lights, your TV, everything. It won't. You won't make
that,
enough power.
I've actually been in a guy's house where, yes, actually, he had a 2,800 square foot house with a
Hmm.
huge roof, and he had a nice roof with solar panels on it. And he's like, it run everything in my house. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Come in my house to sign paperwork. Okay, so I go inside. Where are you from? Okinawa. Okay, that's great. And I get in there, and it's like 80 degrees. I
Hmm.
live in Texas, and like one thing we've figured out how to do here is HVAC really, really well. We do HVAC like nobody's business here,
Yeah.
okay? It's really hot, really humid here. And this dude from somewhere else has not discovered the joy of HVAC yet. And he's like, no, I'm not hot. This is great. And I'm in there, just being in there, I'm getting sweaty talking about it. Okay. It hit me so succinctly, like, Al, I'm really not cool with being in your home. Can you just sign this paperwork so I can get done and leave? And that was the most irritating day I could remember because this guy was talking to me about, yeah, I might pay at most $30 a month And I'm like, well, yeah, that'd be great. If all I need to do is just run my refrigerator, and maybe, a couple server units to keep my computers alive. But you don't have any HVAC on. You're
Well,
going to
see,
lose
just
your
think
server.
about it. Have you ever lost power and had to use a generator?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how many things could you run when you had a generator? Just a generator going.
Not a whole lot.
Okay, that's usually the people that I know that have bought solar panels, put them in and stuff, and they were very upset afterward when they realized that they tell you, oh, you're going to sell back all your extra power that you're not using and all this crap. And that's what sold them to buy them. And then they buy it and they realize that they're still paying a bill and they're having to keep everything so low, that, like you said, it's so hot, they're sweaty. They can't run three things at the same time because it would keep blowing the certain breakers. They had tons of problems. It was nothing like they thought. And they had their whole roof, the complete roof
The
covered.
entire roof is covered with solar panels.
And then you had to keep them cleaned. When birds would shit on them or whatever, they had to get people up there to clean them. You had to have special people. It was outrageous. They said they got ripped off big time, and it cost a lot of money. They had to get a bank loan to borrow to put all these solar panels on the top of their house. And then there's a couple other ones that did the same thing with the wind, the wind turbine in their yard. That never worked.
The only thing I've ever seen really work well is geothermal. And you have to be in certain areas to have that. And then there's an overhead cost at the start of back in 1999, it was $50,000 in Macon County to tap a geothermal vent. And yeah, I mean, that was the only thing that actually was worth it because there was enough coming out from this source where they actually could do things and they weren't stuck well, we can only run one laptop at a time. Don't turn on the toaster, Timmy. That sort of deal. They actually could do stuff. And that was the only time I've ever seen anything. But this guy, he had a server stack in one room and his house was already really hot. He didn't believe in using the AC. And from what I understand, he lost that server about maybe a month and a half, 2 months later, because you need a good cooling unit to take care of a server. If you've got a server in your home because you work from home and now your boss puts this $20,000, $30,000 piece of machinery in your house, which constantly has a draw of power, but you don't believe in air conditioning because you don't want to have a $500 a month cost because your 2,800 square foot house. The guy pissed me off. So,
yeah.
Sorry about that. And my chat just kind of blew up on that, but it's a complimentary type of service. If you can use wind power or solar, that's great. Don't think it's going to power your entire home unless you're going to just live in a 300 square foot tiny house on a trailer and never have two things plugged in at once. So I don't think it's going to
even
work
if you buy one of those little kits and do the tiny house, your roof is so little, you're not going to have enough solar panels to run that little tiny house. See, that's it. It's just the whole thing is just dumb, and it should be against the law to tell people you're going to do this, that, and the other, and you can run all this different stuff. Because I did that one time. I had a person call and want to, come out to my house and talk to me about it. So I started asking them questions on the phone. I said, I got a notebook here and I'm going to write some stuff down. So I want you to let me know, how many appliances can I run and how many lights can I have on and all this at the same time while I have solar panel. And he goes, well, once they're charged and it charges up the batteries, blah, 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 then you can use it up to this many times, blah, blah, blah. And I said, so let's say I click this stuff on or whatever, and I'm using it and I'm having a bunch of people over and it's night. So at night, you're not making any more power, right? So you have to use the battery. Okay. And then the next morning, you're ready to.
How far did he get in his spiel?
And you can't. Yeah, he didn't get very far. He finally said, it's okay.
Janet freeze. Janet froze.
Oh, I'm frozen?
Travis is like, I power everything. I don't use AC. I have 24-hour day recharge. keep in mind, Janet lives in a remote part of the states, and she might as well live in Illinois as far as a stable power grid's concerned.
Is
And
my
I
am
say
I
that,
back now?
yeah, you're back.
Okay.
You froze on one of the cutest Janet's frozen I've ever seen. It was great.
Okay, I'm sorry. I am in the boonies now, so I don't have a lot
Which
of
is
good power.
which is really weird because Clinton Power Plant, it's a nuclear power plant. You think they'd want to improve the infrastructure around there? Nope, not those fuckers.
Uh-uh. Hell no. Shit. All the money goes to Little Rock. They don't want to help the little towns.
No.
All the taxes always go to the big cities, and they're like, well, we don't have enough. We have to raise taxes so we can get more stuff. It's like, yeah, they'll spend your money. But yeah, we'll get back to South Park. The one part uh where the very first part where Kyle has said he would suck his balls just to get it over with, right? So they're
Mhm.
having that whole conversation, and you see Cartman go to his bag and he unzips it and he pulls out, a camera. He's setting it up on a tripod, doing all this stuff, and he's talking about, you know, uh, how he's gonna savor this moment, all this kind of stuff because he said, "Let's just get it over with. We need to go find out what's going on." So, he's doing all that stuff because he's wanting to film it all. And then later on, when before the judge states that he doesn't have to suck his balls, that whole case has been dropped or whatever, telling Kyle that Cartman's getting all dressed up as the Pope.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. I was just, I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe. I was just going, what how are they doing this shit and not getting the TV? I mean, if you did that right now on YouTube, it would be taken down. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? There's no way they would let you dress up as the Pope and be talking about, well, come over here. I'm going to take a video. And he has a professional guy
And
setting
I'm
it
going
all
to let
up
you shut
to
my mouth.
video him dressed as the Pope while he's getting his balls sucked. It's just, and he'd be sitting on a throne. It was just, I just can't believe it. I just still can see it, but I still can't believe that they had this on TV and they were allowed to do it. It's just shocking, but it was funny as shit. I mean, it's like good stuff.
Kyle,
And does that make me a bad person, because he's dressed like the Pope and he's a kid? Oh my God. It was so funny.
Come is kiss the ring, and by the ring, I mean my balls.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was so funny. And I could see why other people would look at this and say, oh my God, you guys are warped. You guys shouldn't be able to do that. You know better than these other people doing it. But the thing is, we don't do it. I don't want to do horrible things like that with kids or get someone to suck my balls. I just want to enjoy good comedy. You know what I mean? A good, entertaining movie for a short amount of time in my life to take me away from all the other shit that's going on, and this movie does it. I mean, it takes you out of everything. You cannot focus on anything else that's going on because you're so busy trying to absorb all the stuff that's going on all at one time in this movie. It was so good. I just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. I laughed and laughed and laughed. It was so funny.
Flady says something pretty impressive. Flady says, I'd say Janet's wrong on that. It's open season on Catholics and Christians.
Well,
Well,
yeah, it was.
it's been like that for over 20 years.
I'm a Christian. I'm not a Catholic, but I am a Christian. And sometimes when they would do some of the stuff with Jesus, like they had Jesus in this one, he wasn't as prominent in it, but it kind of hurt a little bit. But if you laugh at someone else, Hispanic or an Asian or anything, like when there was a show, what's the name of that show? Where all those guys, grown men, would do all these pranks on each other.
Impractical Jokers.
No, not that one. The one where they like glued that little guy to that guy's chest. It was really terrible pranks.
Jackass?
Yeah, Jackass. That's it. Okay. That is a horrible. I don't like the show. I mean, I watched a couple episodes and I didn't really laugh because to me it was so blatantly obvious that teenagers were going to watch this, or college students, and redo all these dumb pranks that they were doing. I mean, and maybe hurting people. I mean, hurting each other or hurting others. Now, when you watch a cartoon, it's a cartoon. You know what I mean? It's not even anything reality. Seeing a person take a person, put glue on them, super glue on their back, and stick them to someone's chest, that's real. I mean, it's a real person involved in doing those things. A cartoon is different. It's not a real person. So when you're shooting somebody, or you're blowing stuff up, or you're gorging yourself with food, or you got a pig man or whatever coming in and chewing people up and stuff, it's gruesome, especially if you know it's in your imagination and stuff, and you see all the little extra details and everything, but it's still a cartoon. So you're able to separate it from reality, which you can't do when you're watching it as real people doing it. So to me, that's the difference. And the fact that I can't laugh at somebody getting made fun of over there if I'm not allowed to let them laugh at me being a Christian. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know how else to explain it any different than that. I'm not saying it's good, and it's not for everybody, and not everybody can watch this kind of humor. But I thought it was funny. I really enjoyed it. And it's not always tasteful, because most of the stuff these guys do are not tasteful at all. It's just terrible. But, every so often we just need a release of somehow to release all the other bottled up shit that we're dealing with paying our bills and going to work and dealing with a boss that you don't like, or a neighbor that keeps letting their dog crap in your yard, or whatever it is. Okay. You need a way out sometimes. And this is a good way to get out of it if you enjoy this kind of humor. Welcome back, Bruce. What happened?
The internet, me and the internet.
Yeah, I'm having the same issue a little bit like it was the other night. Sorry, I got to wipe my nose. Nose is
Okay.
dry. Oh, my allergies are terrible.
We used to watch Butterbean versus Johnny Knoxville. Oh, well, I'll send that to her on Discord.
Yeah,
That-
I'll watch it. I haven't seen it.
I
Whatever
love
it
seeing the
is.
vids where kids trying to prank somebody goes wrong and they get their asses whooped. Those are some of my favorites. 2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 or 3 egg whites with a half stick of butter. That sounds kind of delicious. Like my diabetes could start up.
There was a show called Candid Camera.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago. But there was one. My dad, he had like on a reel to reel thing. Like I don't know what you'd call that, 8mm or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But he had like, stag films and stuff on it. Cause I remember him having his guy friends over, and they all had cigars and stuff, and they'd go in there and we'd peek through the little crack, and they had real sexy ladies running around and stuff. But he had a couple of those that he showed me that weren't the stag stuff, but it would had like the naughty how do you say that again? Candid Camera. It had naughty reels. Okay. And one of them was, and he said that I was 13 at the time. So he said I was old enough to be able to see some of these, because I had asked him. Remember, I was the tomboy, and I kept asking my dad, what's so entertaining about some of those things that you always watch with your friends? And he said, well, here's one I'll let you watch because it's kind of tame. And Mom was like, she wasn't happy about it, but because I kept asking, and they always tried to show us stuff about the weapons and everything, They were very open about it once we were old enough where they thought we could understand what was going on. But I remember him putting this on for me, and I remember watching it, and my dad was just rolling, and I know he had seen it 100 times at least, and I thought it was stupid. I mean, and gross. But what it was, they had taken a naked woman and later had her laying, face up, where her boobs and stuff were showing, and then they had put like salad bar on top of her. And then the other lady was laying face down and had her butt up in the thing, but they had like tarps or something around them, and then they had ice, and then they had like the salad bar, right? And then it had men that were coming in, and it was funny because they were all just looking and staring, at the women's boobs and all that stuff. And people were laughing, had to laugh real, I guess, on there. But the one that my dad kept laughing at was there was carrots and celery and some other things there. And there was a woman's butt sticking up out of it. And every one of them would look around, pick up a carrot and go poke it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Poke it in certain areas. And my dad thought that was so funny. And I was like, I was shocked, and I asked my mother about it later, and she's like, "Man," that's all she said. So from that day on, that's when I realized that men look at us women totally different than we look at them. And I was 13 when I figured that out. But from watching something my dad thought was funny, and I had asked him over and over again that I wanted to see some of that, whatever it was that they kept enjoying, because I saw women in lingerie and things like that. When I peeked in, it's probably a lot worse than that. But my mom, she was away from the doors or whatever. So, but I asked for it, and my dad let me see some of it. But after seeing that, that's when I realized that there is a difference, the way we look and perceive each other, And I don't think my dad was a pervert or anything. I still don't. I thought that he was just a man, that liked looking at women and liked to laugh and be entertained like anyone else. But their entertainment ways were way different than us. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have VHS and all that stuff. It was on those little things that spin around, that you put in a machine, and it, like at the at the movie theater. The big thing that they have, his was small, but I remember that, and it was like, I'll never forget that that one thing that worked my mind, like you were saying earlier, if you don't get your mind worked or whatever, it causes you to, something you can't stop thinking about it. You're going to remember it forever. Like what that one thing you woke up, you said your brother was watching something, and you woke up and it caused you to have nightmares.
Yeah.
Or it was your cousin or somebody.
It was my cousin.
Yeah. So I remember that. See, so things depending on how your mind absorbs the information that's going in, whether it's real or not real, or whether you understand that it's not real. You know what I mean? So it really can. And plus it depends on the maturity of the person that's watching it. So I recommend that you be mature and like South Park before you watch this movie.
Yeah, don't watch this film if you're not a big fan of South Park. You can skip this. But if you like South Park, you have to go on some high seas, yarg, matey, because they've pulled this from the website where you can watch free South Park, and you can go back pretty far and watch free South Park, but there's like some episodes, this one, episode 201, they don't let those on. And I want to say probably because of a certain sect or religion where the people kind of get upset when you make a joke or a jab about their prophet or whatever. Anyway, and that's my biggest complaint about Islam. If they could just, like, instead of going into vlog mode and they're like, you made fun of my prophet, boom. If they could do it like a debate, and the debate wasn't circular logic, well, it's written in the Quran. Well, who wrote the Quran? The Prophet Muhammad wrote the Quran, which he didn't. He couldn't even read. He had people near him that were there when he was having seizures, and he was just blurting stuff out. And people were like, yeah, write that down, Ishmael. And they were doing that. But you can't say that thing to most Muslims because they get really pissed off. No, it is haram. You cannot say these things. Why? Because it's written in the Quran. You can't say these things. Well, who wrote the Quran? Prophet Muhammad. And who told Muhammad about this? Well, he saw it from God. I disbelieve. Because, Allah is the great deceiver. Yeah, that's in your book. So is Satan. And that's in like most of the other Bibles. Anyway.
That's one reason why I thought that this Imagination Land, that whole conversation that they had in the Pentagon where the gate was at
Yeah.
with the kids, and they were talking about whose imagination is real and whose isn't. You know, if just because you say, God is God, or Jesus is Jesus, or the Santa Claus, or if it's Easter Bunny, or Pig Man, or whatever it is, or Freddy Krueger, they had everybody in that. Just because somebody says that's real doesn't mean it's real to that person or to that person. And that's the whole concept of it. The same thing with with any of the Muslims, or the Indians, or the whatever, Buddhists, or any religion. That's what this whole thing was about. It was basically trying to get you to realize that by you saying this is real and you have to believe me because I say so, is no different than that guy over there saying you have to believe me because I say so. See? What's the difference between each one of these different people forcing their point of view on another person? And that's just like the jab or anything else. When you force another person to do something against their will, it's not right. It's against human nature, and that we should be able to live amongst each other and accept that somebody has a different point of view than you. It doesn't mean that they're horrible. That just means they don't believe the same thing you do. And I try never to do that. I try never to judge someone because their point of view is different than mine. I try to let them be themselves. And that's one of the things I do in a lot of my videos is I tell people, laugh at yourself, be yourself. Don't let other people make you be something you're not, or don't follow someone just because they want you to follow them, or you think you'll be popular. Try to be yourself and you'll be more popular, because then you don't have to put on airs. I mean, I see so many people that start talking about crap, and then you listen to their conversation, and then you see them again, let's say in 3 weeks, and they're having a similar conversation with someone else, but all the details are different, a little bit different, because you paid attention watching them talk to this other people, and these are new people now, but they're telling a different story. And then the next time you hear them tell it, they're going to tell a little bit more, and it's going to have some different elements to it. It's because it's not true, because they're not telling the truth. And that's the hard part. When you make up all these stories all the time, you have to remember what it was you said last time. If you just say the truth, it's always going to be the same boring story, because it's what really happened. It's actual facts. So that's what I feel sorry for people when they feel like they have to make up stuff to fit in, instead of just trying to be themselves and let people accept them for themselves, and try to learn to love yourself the way you are and the way that you were created, and just be you. And let people like you for who you are, and hopefully they'll like you for who you are, and then everybody's happy, But I guess I'm just asking for too much. Do what?
That'd be the preferred way to go about it.
Well, that's how I try to live my life. It's not always good. I mean, I spend lots of days crying because I get in fights with people because they don't agree with my point of view. And it hurts my feelings sometimes because I want to be friends with people, and I don't want to block somebody on Twitter or kick them out of my Discord or something. But, that I can only take so much because I'm only a person, I'm only one person, and I try to be fair. I try to listen, and I try to, if someone asks my opinion, I try to be honest about it. And, they hate me because of it, some of them, but, you can't please everyone. And that's something we all have to realize, is that not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like all of us. Someone's going to dislike something, oh, I don't like them because they got brown hair, or they're bald, or whatever, whatever their dumb reason is. And then they want to torture you and be mean to you because of it. And I don't like bullies. I think bullies are terrible. And that's one reason that I like South Park to a degree too, is because Cartman is a bully. Okay. And he's a bully in every single episode to someone. He picks on one person or 2 or 3 people at each episode that he's going to bully. But you always have, most of the time, you have them fight back or rise up you know, to confront him about it. So I don't know. I just think their visual concepts of what they do and get people to see in their stories is entertaining, but it also has messages in it, and I think that's what makes South Park really really good. And it's because they have some like off-color jokes and do some really childlike stuff in it, but they're kids. So the people don't realize these are second grade kids supposedly in their cartoon, but it's for adult oriented ideas and things that are being said. So a lot of people don't want to deal with it because they think that's stupid. It's immature. Grown-ups don't watch that stuff, but I'm a grown up. I am responsible. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes and stuff. But that doesn't mean I can't have a good laugh at something. And I don't deny other people for having a good laugh. And I really thought this was really funny. I mean, it had a lot of gore. I was shocked. A lot of times I was like, what the. But I laughed and it was entertaining. And isn't that what Hollywood's supposed to do? It's supposed to entertain us, give us 2 hours of a movie to take us away from all the other shit that's going on in our lives. And it can either be a romantic movie, it could be a war movie, or it can be a porn. I mean, it can be whatever it is that you're interested in. Why do you go watch it? You're going to watch it because you want to be entertained. And that's how it should be. But I don't want to go watch a movie and have somebody's, it's like a join our war, join our war, join our war. I mean, who wants to be stuff crammed down your throat? I don't. I want to go see something that's fun, something that makes me leave and talk about it for 2 or 3 days, or even on TV, you want to watch a streaming show and you're paying $8 a month or whatever it is to have it. You want it to be an entertaining channel. I mean, why pay for it if you just go, oh, again, I don't know, but that's just my point of view. Sorry for going on another rant.
You're good.
But I get round up on some of this stuff because I just wish that more people could find the entertainment that they want. And I know South Park's not for everybody because I have 4 sisters, and I'm telling you right now, none of them will watch it. They all think it's a stupid, trivial crap. But one of them that said that loved that movie, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or something. I was like, ugh, gag me. Terrible. I thought it was horrid.
If you're going to make me watch that film or not.
No, I'm never going to watch it. That's not my genre. I wouldn't be interested in it. But see, that's what I'm saying. I let her watch it, and I don't gripe at her and tell her how dumb it is. I just say I don't want to watch it, and I didn't. So no, I won't. But I got you to watch Lars and the Real Girl. So I'm just saying
that had an interesting premise to it, and I like that movie on a couple levels. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it's like great, amazing quality entertainment. It's a good indie film. Mm-hmm. It's a very good indie film. But would I recommend somebody watch it? Only somebody that like is involved with mental health, because I think they have the right attitude going in to see that. I think people that aren't into mental health things probably should abstain. Probably should stay out of it, because that's going to be a movie that's really not made for them. That'd be like me walking into watch Captain Marvel. It's not made for me.
I didn't watch Captain Marvel either.
No, I refuse to watch anything Marvel after that. Mm-hmm. The only way I'm going to watch it is if it's for free or yar matey. There's nothing. There's no other way for me to go, because Marvel and Disney spent way too much money trying to put down people that were their paying customers, mm-hmm. and they went after the paying customer. And that seems to be the standard operating procedure now, is if you don't like your customers because they didn't see your shitty movie, immediately go after them.
But I don't know. I just don't know how how can they keep doing this year after year and still have money? I don't understand who's buying all this crap. Who's, why?
I've got
And how they're
idiot
making so
friends,
much money.
and I'm going to explain my idiot friends real quick. When I got rid of Netflix and Amazon Prime, I I wasn't doing it because I wanted to be a complete and total ass. It's because those places were getting their money from people that I particularly don't like. I mean, Netflix has about 10 different movies on the rise of Barack Obama and his
Mhm.
husband Mike. And I really just don't care about Obama. I had to endure Obama as a former Macon County native in Illinois. I got to see what Obama did firsthand. He took money from downstate politicians and put it up in Chicago. And so then they put a bunch of money in Obama's people's hands, and they made a bunch of crappy movies that you can sit and watch and worship Obama and his husband Mike, and you can enjoy yourself if that's your thing, you miserable fucking idiot. But I don't like that, and I don't want to give money to companies that do that. And
Mhm.
so anything involving Obama, was on the out list, and just having that mindset, it was easy to walk away from Netflix. It was easy for me to walk away from smoking because a friend of mine said, dude, I don't really like you that much, but I know your health isn't the greatest anymore because you smoke about a pack a day.
Mhm.
If you stop smoking, you're going to live longer and piss people off that hate you. And I don't know about you people out there. I don't know about you people, but I'm going to tell you that that was the motivation I needed to hear for me to quit. And I
Mhm.
quit that day. I only smoke now maybe once a year. And it's not for more than a cigarette. And I'm
Yeah.
done. And it's a nice habit. It's a nice thing every once in a while, kind of like,
Do you like cigars?
I love cigars.
Okay, yeah, I know a lot
But
of people
I'm
that
I'm
they don't smoke cigarettes. They only smoke cigars, and they only smoke them, like New Year's Eve and somebody's wedding, that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
And there's no reason for me to be involved with cigar smoke that often because I just don't have a reason to celebrate that much. I'm in the process of trying to get a home, and move out of my apartment dwelling that I live in with my wife. And that's, we you can't really do that when you're burning $20 a day on something that's not a necessity. As much as I want to drink, I'm curbing that activity. I mean, I started drinking tea at night. I have usually one beer when I first get home. It's the coldest thing in the fridge. But I started buying this tea from Blackout. This is the winter
Mhm.
solstice tea. This is
Yeah,
the blueberry-esque tea. Hold on. I'm
and tea
drinking
is
right
good
now.
for you.
Tea's great. And this is the stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, that's some high quality caliber stuff there. And the teas are cheap on the blackout.com website. So anyway, that's what I'm on now. And actually, I'm really starting to dig it because there's a big variety of stuff. And it's another niche thing I can get into. Unlike, everybody and their sisters, like,
Oh my god, I love Michelob Ultra.
no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I smoked when I was young. I wasn't ever a pack a day smoker, but I'd smoke like those Carltons. They're really thin and they were long, and I felt like they made me look, classy or something. I don't know. I can't even tell you that was so stupid, but that's what I do. And most of the time I'd just be holding it while it's burning away or whatever. But because other people did it, all my friends were smoking. So I was trying to, but what was really bad when I started thinking about it, I was watching them and they're smoking Marlboro Reds and Camels, and two of my friends smoked those menthol kind. And so one of my friends said, "Hey, try this menthol one. You'll really like it." And I was like, I made myself try it, and I told her, I said, "It tastes like I'm sucking on one of those Vicks inhalers that you stick up your nose and sniff, And I said, so I go, no wonder you don't cough or anything. I said, because you're smoking a Vicks inhaler. So you're basically keeping your lungs cleared out while you're smoking all this bad chemicals and stuff. And it just didn't take that much longer after that when I just like, I'm quitting. I'm not going to smoke anymore because it's just gross. And I smell my clothes and my hair the next day, and I was like, I just didn't like it. So it was pretty easy for me to finally quit, because I just grossed myself out over it, I guess, or something. You get in a certain mindset and it's easier for you to do something. But so I guess I was lucky, because my mom smoked all the way up until she passed away, and she smoked over a pack a day. And she got pancreatic cancer, and the doctor that I talked to said that her smoking had a lot to do with why she got that kind of cancer. So I'm glad I quit when I was really young. So I don't have to worry about it. But I wish more people could quit, but everybody's got something. I mean, I love wine and I love champagne, and so I don't want people to tell me I can't have some champagne or a mimosa if I want one, So I'm gonna drink. I enjoy it, and I know that a lot of alcohol isn't good for you, only because doctors and stuff say it. But who trusts doctors anymore? I mean, heck, look at George Burns. Well, he was like 100, wasn't he, when he died?
Who?
George Burns.
Yeah, he died at the age of 100, but he smoked cigars
Yeah,
every time he was on camera.
He smoked and drank 24/7, and so did Dean Martin. How old was Dean Martin when he died?
Early 80s, late 70s.
Well, okay. Well, I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know if I trust everything that those people say anymore after this whole thing that we've gone through in the last couple of years. So, I try to put a little bit more emphasis on myself and knowing how you feel and going by how you feel and how you feel like whatever it is that you're doing affects you. Because I got lots of friends that like smoke pot, and they swear by it. They swear that they stopped taking other painkillers and stuff, because since they started smoking pot, that their leg pain or their back pain is hardly exists anymore. So if they can find alternative methods instead of taking codeine and all these other whatever the doctors are pushing, I think it's good. But to me, it's up to the person. Each person that has whatever health problems, I think they should be the one to say what they think they need, instead of letting other people talk them into doing something that they probably wouldn't be comfortable with, but do it because they think that they have to, because they don't have any other choice. But I'm liking that part of it, that more and more people are going off on their own and trying herbal remedies, like you with your tea and stuff. You don't know it unless you try it. If you just try it, and for I think you're supposed to do it for like 1 month or something like that to see whether it will help you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it for a month and you start noticing, wow, my knee hasn't been hurting as bad or whatever, then I think that's good. That means that we are taking over our own health care. I mean, I had a person tell me that if you go and you get there's this therapy called bee therapy, and you go get stung by bees, and it's supposed to help you with some kind of different ailments. And I was like, no, thank you.
Bad idea.
It's a bad idea for me, because I could die if I get stung by a bee. I have to carry EpiPen wherever I go. Because the first time I got stung, my hand just swelled up all the way past my elbow, like it looked like I had a baseball mitt on. But they said the next time I get stung, I could die. So I hope I never get stung again. But it was pretty scary. Yeah, I wish that we had more people like the guys that started South Park. I mean, I wish there was more more shows like that on TV and in entertainment industry to help people relax, enjoy themselves for a few hours, to take them away from all the chaos that's going on, but also has a good message with a good ending. It's, usually always has a happy ending, whether it's chef's chocolate balls or whatever they're going to have, or Mr. Hanky, or whatever character they're going to have on there. It usually has a good story. If you kind of listen to what they're saying and read between the lines, it's usually pretty good. At least I think.
I was just asking, where's the dog?
Yeah, I wish you could have it. I mean,
Do you have the dog as an indoor dog, or is the dog as an outdoor dog?
oh, my dog?
Yeah.
Oh, right now I still have it outside because tomorrow I'm taking it to the vet to find out, more about it. But I ordered me one of those real nice igloo houses with the bottom in it. Plus, I'm in a place it's not wintry, it doesn't get, below zero or anything like that. So I'm not that worried about that. And plus, this dog's going to have a very nice coat. It's a shepherd. So
Is it a German Shepherd?
is it what?
Is it a German Shepherd?
I don't know for sure. I just know it has 2 blue eyes. It's got solid white, gorgeous coat. So hopefully tomorrow when I take her to the vet, she'll be able to tell me what kind of dog she is. But I took her to a shelter this morning because they had that scanner, that they scan the dog to see if it has a chip.
Yes.
So I took her there, and I was praying that she had a chip so that I could find out who her owners were, but she didn't have any chips in her. So when I got back in the car, or the lady looked at me, she goes, "So you going to leave her here?" And then I just started crying. It was terrible. So I got her and put her in the car with me. And I made a couple videos. I posted them on Twitter.
Okay.
And but the thing is, I took her to a PetSmart. I got her some bowls. I got her food because I didn't have any food. I was taking hot dogs out of my refrigerator, and I had some chicken and rice the first day, and that's what I fed her because that's the stuff I normally feed my chickens. I give them the scraps and leftovers and the heels of the bread and all that kind of stuff. But this puppy was able to get it. Well, now the puppy's not allowed. I'm not going to let the puppy have any more people food because to me, I had my other 2 dogs for 15 and almost 14 years. And I never fed them table scraps and stuff. I always gave them, like pig's ears or chicken jerky as a treat, but they got their kibble, which is good for their teeth. You don't want soft dog food unless the dog's, losing their teeth or whatever. But I believe in a good dog's diet and good exercise and lots of water for a dog to live a long, healthy life. So hopefully that's what will happen. And I named her Winter because she is white and it's winter. And I thought it would be a pretty appropriate name for her. And she comes when I call her that. So maybe it's just because she likes me. I don't know. But I didn't think I'd ever get another pet. So, but she just showed up on my porch. I went to my dad's and it's a 3-hour drive and it was 3 hours back. And when I came home, she was sitting on my porch. I don't know how she got there or who brought her, but or if someone dumped her, if she got lost. I mean, I don't know. I put one of my daughters put an ad in Facebook or whatever that's called, not an ad, but in the Facebook community page or something like that, and it had pictures and a video. And I said, please contact me, but nobody said anything. Not one post. That's why I tried the chip thing because I thought if I did the chip, that maybe took the chance for that. But I live in a rural area now. People just don't have the money to do that kind of stuff. Now, if I still lived in New Orleans full time, then that would be more likely if I found a dog there especially one that looks as pretty as her. I mean, she looks like she's an expensive dog, but I mean, I don't know. I've had some people say that it's a white shepherd that they raise, white shepherds, but it's not a German shepherd. It's just called a white shepherd. So I don't know.
There's a lot of white shepherds here in Texas I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. They're really pretty, and she's really sweet. So when I first got there, every time I tried to open the door, she tried to come in the house. Okay, but I wouldn't let her in because I don't know what, and I had to wash my hands after I pet her and stuff because I don't know what kind of dander, what she has on her and stuff, and I could get it in my eyes and stuff, or something. I don't know what she has on her, so I've been real careful about that. But after I get her shots and everything, then I'll be able to get it groomed, too. But right now, no grooming place will take her because she doesn't have her shots. I don't have any record of it. I don't have anything on her yet. So we will see what happens. But I'll keep everybody updated. I will definitely put stuff in my Discord to keep everybody updated on her because I think she's a beautiful dog, and she's so soft. I couldn't believe I never felt fur on it feels like rabbit's fur almost. It's so fine and fluffy and beautiful. But Bruce, did you see any of the pictures of her?
I just posted a meme on your Hangout channel, so.
Oh.
Well, yeah. First, whenever you got the dog and you showed me a photo of it, I'm like, oh, it looks like a little Vulpine Italiano.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
No, not really. And then I'm like, well, the American Eskimo dog, that's almost the same fucking thing. They're both Spitz type dogs. Mm-hmm. Yours doesn't really look like a Spitz type dog. Yours
it looks more like a shepherd type. It almost looks like an Australian shepherd or something, but white, because its eyes are really, really crystal blue color.
So then we have your video. And Link
that's
Logan.
When I cry in.
Yeah.
That's when I found out the chip didn't blue color.
So then we have your video.
Smart and buy her a bunch of gifts.
That's when I cry in.
Yeah.
Okay, she doesn't have. That's when I found out the chip didn't blue color.
So anyway, let me turn off my boomer. All right. So after we watched that video, I put in this meme here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Holy fuck, I love being white.
Oh, it's cute.
But it's a big fucking fluffy dog. If you get upset because the fucking dog loves being fluffy and white, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fucking sensitive bitches out there.
Yeah, I had this one person that was really mean to me on Twitter because of I'm not going to say their name or anything, but they were mad when they found out that I hadn't put her in the house. I mean, I was like, I live in a rural area. Most people here have working dogs and stuff, and they don't put their dogs in the house. I mean, if it was
outside to take care of the chickens.
Yeah, I had a lot of dogs that they keep outside to protect their properties and stuff. But I don't know. It was terrible. That
you live in an area where you need to protect your property, and the dog will be will get used to it, and I'm sure it wants to come inside all the time because it was used to that lifestyle before. Well, you're at Janet's house now, and
but honestly, I don't know if it was an indoor dog. I mean, I think it just wanted in because I was going in. You know what I mean? Because if I'm outside, it just sits right by me. Just comes over and puts its head on my lap and stuff like that. I think it just wanted to be with me. But when I got a piece of twine and I put it around her neck to take her out to the car because I was going to go get her chipped, to see if she had a chip or whatever. And she did not want to get in the car. And all I could think of was she's petrified I'm taking her to dump her, like someone did to me. Because I have 4.5 acres and I have a huge, long driveway, as long as a football field. That's a long way for a dog to just run down to my house when there's other houses that are closer to the road. You know what I mean? So it's almost like I feel like someone targeted my house to dump the dog at my house. And now it's not strange that happens. I mean, every year I used to find, kittens, other dogs, litters of puppies that people just bring out and dump, and look at how long it's been. Lots of people this is why I hate holidays of people giving pets. Every Easter, you'll find all these rabbits and baby ducks and stuff that people get as a gift for Easter. And then they don't want to take care of it. They go, I don't have to take care of a duck, or I don't need to take this puppy. Now it's chewing up stuff and it's pooping in the house. So they just take it down the street and dump it. And that's sad. I wish it was a law. I wish every single person that did that would be arrested, because I think that's horrid. I already talked to the vet on the phone. I said, well, I know I want to have her spayed. And she said, well, we'll have to make an appointment tomorrow when you bring her in, because we won't be able to get her until June, because she's booked up. Because you got to remember too, I'm in a rural area. So there's like 2 vets anywhere near me, unless I want to drive to Little Rock or somewhere like that. Because I'm, in a rural area. There's just not a lot of people that do that stuff. And, but I'm definitely going to be good to her. I mean, I had my Chihuahua for almost 16 years, and my little Shih Tzu was almost 15 when he finally died. But both of them were blind and deaf. They had great lives, but man, it devastated me. That's why I didn't think I would. I just didn't think I'd ever get another pet. And this one, I didn't go pick it. It picked you. So, so now I have a beautiful little white dog, and I hope, I can't wait to see what kind of relationship we have. And I'm going to sign up to take classes so I can teach her to sit and stay and all that stuff on my own. So
I can't wait to see the videos you make with the dog.
I can't wait myself.
That's what I'm waiting on. I know that sounds terrible.
It was really hard. The second video that I posted, because I'm crying, because after I checked her for her chip, she's laying in the in the floorboard of my car, because my seat had tons of stuff on it, and I already had it in there. And I'm driving along. I'm driving to go to PetSmart to get some food and a collar and maybe a leash and a few things, and maybe some toys or whatever. So maybe she won't chew up the rest of my stuff on my porch. But while I'm driving, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'm ready. Not because I don't want to take care of it. It's the heartache you go through when you lose your pet. I mean, I just went through that, and I didn't think I cried for a month over my stupid dogs. Because,
not a stupid dog.
Well, you know what I mean. It's just other people look at you like, I mean, some people laugh at me because I have chickens, and I taught a couple of my little roosters that I didn't want to kill. I put leashes on them, cat leashes, the little harness, and walked them around every day until they got used to it, and they would peck at the ground and act normal. And then during the Fall Fest, I took them with me on a leash and walked around with them. I was dressed up in one of those blow up costumes, the one that looks like I'm riding an ostrich. Okay. And I had my little rooster walking around, and people were like, wow, this is cool. You got a rooster, a little banny rooster that walks around on a leash. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm trying to find a home for him, but you can't be in the city limits because he crows, even though he's little, he was just little. But I was able to find a teenage girl whose mother would let her have it. So, I took a little extra time out of my life to train a chicken to walk with a lead, so that somebody would want it as a pet and not, wring its little neck or whatever. So, I will do that, because I do want, people to have pets and love them, whether they're a tarantula or a frog or a turtle or a kitten. And I hate
a tarantula when I was 19.
Yeah, I've had a couple tarantulas. So, I mean, I've had a lot of weird pets, but the thing is that, anyone that gets a pet, like for Christmas, okay, you get a puppy or a kitten, and then, 3 months go by and now it's peeing in the house because you don't want to get up every time it cries to go outside, or you don't want to take the effort it takes to teach it to not chew up everything. Because you're not playing with it. Now that it's getting bigger, it's not that cute little baby that wants to lay its head on you and sleep on you. Now you're not interested. And that's the sad thing. They just drive out somewhere and dump it because they don't want to have to clean up after it anymore. And I think that's what happened to her, because she looks very rich. She looks like someone paid money for her to me. And that's why I thought for sure, someone would look for her or want her back. And the only thing I can think of is because the first thing she did that I noticed was all the stuff that she chewed up on my porch, and like pillows, a couple of little blankets I had, those little things that you put on your spigots, the little, she chewed up 2 of those. I mean, it was just gnawed up. Everything was just chewed all to bits. And I was like, well, that's probably why they got rid of her, because she probably chewed up stuff. But you got to remember too, she's got little needle teeth, because I can feel her when she bites on my hand, she bites real gently, like she knows that this is my hand compared to a toy. So she's very gentle. I mean, she's sweet as can be. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to. What I'm afraid of, and this is what I told the people when I went to buy her bed and all that stuff for her, was at PetSmart. I said, if I put that in Facebook and I did all this different stuff and nobody's contacted me. So they said, well, take the ad off of Facebook now, because you do have proof that you tried to do that. And then once you take your dog to the vet and get it shots and it's named and all that stuff, then they shouldn't be able to legally take your pet from you. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's one reason why I tried not to pet her and spend, that kind of time. Just gave her food and water and just kind of like said, don't jump on me, that type of thing, because I don't want to get attached to something and have somebody come and say, that's my dog, I'm going to take you to court, or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I think someone dumped her because they didn't want it chewing up stuff and everything. But I'm willing to take classes or whatever I have to with her, spend, make an extra piece of art and sell it, so I'll have the money to spend on her. So, oh well, I can't help it. I'll do that for her because she seems like a real sweetheart.
There was a day about 3 months ago, about 4 or 5 months ago, where I was at work, driving a work van, and I was leaving this one house after I did an inspection, and I see this kitten at the side of the road after I come out this big long driveway.
Aww.
And yeah, this kitten's like this size, okay? Like you hold it in one hand and it doesn't overlap your fingers or the meat of your palm. Small, like new baby kitten.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and I shouldn't, but that cat's right by the road. And I go to the road, I go to the ditch, and as I'm scooping up the little kitten to bring with me in my work van,
Mm-hmm.
I see the dead mother cat.
Oh,
and a couple other dead kittens in the ditch where like somebody just dumped it all out, and there was like a couple of them that were alive apparently, but there's only 3 dead ones. The dead mama cat and this little kitten that's alive and mewing like crazy. So I get it in the van. No sooner do I get it in the van and I shut off everything and I'm trying to ease the little cat. Like, it'll be okay, buddy. I want to take you somewhere where there's a bunch of people and you're going to find an owner.
mm-hmm.
And the cat's trying to attach to me, trying to meow, meow, meow. And I'm not a cat guy. I'm not a cat guy. I think about for a moment, I could take this cat to a Chinese buffet and it would all be over.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So then my boss calls me, and along with the road noise, meow, 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 meow. My boss like, where the fuck are you? I'm like, do you have a cat in the van? No, sir, I do not. There better not be any cat piss in that van. No, sir, there won't be. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And I get into New Braunfels, which is like people rich. Travis is like, Bruce is chest feeding it. We know he was. No, I'm not. And this cat, I grab it, a bottle of water. I cut the bottle of water in half so it can drink. And I buy it a $10 bag of kitten food, little stars, crunchy stars. And I put it on the sidewalk and I immediately run back to the van. And I hear behind me, and it runs back to the bag because it like. So I have time to get in the van and slam the door shut and take off. And as I'm driving back past that area about 20 minutes later, I see this old lady carrying the kitten. I'm like, yes. So I know.
Yeah, but you left it with food, and that was sweet of you.
Oh, it wasn't. You pay them to leave, and that's the moral of the story, I guess. But I'm not a cat guy, but I didn't think it was right for this cat to be in the middle of the country where like a half mile over there is a house that this is connected to, this
Mhm.
driveway, and the cat's not smart enough about that. The cat's 3, 4 weeks old. It's a dumb creature. So let somebody else have it. I don't need that level. I don't like cats anyway. I don't ever want a cat indoors.
Well,
I'm
I have to
allergic
have
to
cats
fuckers.
outdoors because I'm allergic to cats really, really bad. I am getting shots, and I've been doing it for 6 years, and hopefully it'll get down low enough to maybe I can have a cat because I love cats. I think cats are I love animals. I'm allergic to chickens too. But see, when I go out to the coop and I get the eggs and stuff, I wash my hands and I don't touch my face. I'm very I'm used to it. But what happened to me was I had a mom that had some baby chicks, and then she got killed by something. So I had these baby chicks, and it got me to where, okay, I'm going to get my flock a little bit bigger. But I had this little coop. I have a smaller coop over near my house, has a spotlight and stuff on it that comes on with motion. But I had these little things stuck way down deep all the way around the thing, so creatures couldn't dig. They have to dig at least a foot down to be able to get underneath. And I'd done all this extra stuff, and then I had a bungee cord over the nesting box to keep it shut, and a few other things like that. And I had the heating lamp in there for the chicks and everything else, and I was feeding them. I had food and water in there. But then I'd go out there, and there'd be like 2 chicks missing, but there was no feathers or nothing. They were missing, and I was like, "Is it a rat that's coming and getting them or whatever?" And the next thing I know, I didn't have any chicks, so I was really depressed and everything. So I went to the chicken place, that they sell feed and all that stuff. I think Atwoods or something like that. And I bought some more chicks. Well, over this course of this stuff happening, I had bought 20 chicks. So I had 20 chicks that I lost, every one of them, because something was getting them. And then finally I kept paying attention, and I heard something out there. So I ran out there and had a spotlight, and it was a mom raccoon, or a big raccoon. It was pushing up like this on the bungee cord and reaching in with his other hand and taking out a baby chicken, just eating it. That's what that. So I had my little it's like an air pistol with the big pellets, and I started shooting at it. And I know I hit it because I heard it go make a noise like I hit it. So I was like, good, got rid of that piece of shit, because I was pissed, because it was eating all my baby chicks. Well, then it was like 2 nights later, I heard noises on my front porch, and I said, "Oh, that raccoon's back and is trying to open that bin I have with a locking door with my baby chick feed in, even though I didn't have any chicks anymore. They were all gone." So I got my 9mm and I went to the door, and I opened the door real slow, and I laid down on the ground, and I got my gun ready to go at ground level. And I creep the door open, and I see 2 tiny kitten-sized baby raccoons. And they come walking up to the door. One of them's up on its hind legs, and it's like looking at me. And I got my 9mm, and I'm like, I can't shoot kittens. I mean, they were tiny. They were making that noise like sound like that. Oh, it was so cute. They were so, and I felt terrible because there was no mom, because I'd shot it. I'd killed the mom. So I was like, oh,
taken him to the
I
China
suck.
buffet.
So I was like, I suck. So I just shut the door and just let them get whatever they wanted. And then after like a couple more days, I never found them again. So they either got run over, or I don't know what happened. But yeah, I felt really bad after that, because normally I would set a trap out there and catch them. But see, I was not thinking it was a raccoon. I was thinking it was rats or something. because I don't know why. That was dumb of me in the first place. But I've had bear out there. I got a video of a black bear on my Janet from Another Planet videos. And then I've had a coyote. I've had fox, hawks, eagles, owls. My chickens are just like, it's a daily smorgasbord. That's why you have to have mean roosters. But
See,
it just
not
sucks.
only do we want chickens and roosters, but I want guinea
Mhm.
fowl.
I don't want guineas. Oh, they're so noisy. Have you ever had guinea?
I have to deal with them at my job because everybody has them because they do fairly well about the snakes that are around here, the rattlesnakes.
Mm-hmm.
They might not be able to fend themselves off, but they will make so much noise it'll wake you up and make you come outside with your gat, and you'll find the rattlesnake trying to get around the guinea to get to the rest of like your hen house or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why you have a guinea. You don't have a guinea because you enjoy the noise it makes. No, that's miserable. That's misery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very noisy. But see, when I have chickens, my chickens, they don't really make that much noise. You can hear them buck, 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 but it's real low. It's your rooster that crows all day long.
Yeah, that's the rooster makes a lot of noise, which a lot of the HOAs here don't allow you to have a rooster.
Yeah, because
me upset.
and they don't just crow in the morning. They start
No.
crowing. They crow all day long.
All day. It could be 3 in the afternoon, and there
Mhm.
they are, 80 decibels.
But he's got them long spikes on his legs, and then he'll stand up and go whack whack, and he'll spike you good, so it hurts.
All right, guys.
Or
After
whatever
we get done with
predator.
farm talk, we'll go to the price of porkers there at the markets for the morning. And coming up in just a few moments, we're going to have a moment from Rush Limbaugh. Stay tuned. Okay. Janet, next week,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want us to watch?
Well, I have it in between two movies, and I couldn't really pick one. I don't know which one to pick. So I'll say the two names, and then you guys can tell me which one you want. Okay. I've been thinking about wanting to watch Labyrinth.
David
Okay.
Bowie is the Goblin King?
Yeah. And the other one is Legend.
All right, guys.
So those are the two that I've been really thinking about, because I told you a long time ago those are two of my favorite movies. Even The Dark Crystal's a good one too. But those are the two that I'm thinking about. But I just can't pick my. Oh, I'm having a hard time because I just love Tim Curry, but I also love David Bowie. So those are two really good movies, I think, for my type of
Those
fantasy
are
film.
iconic 80s films.
Mm-hmm.
We got
fantasy.
2 for Legend, 1 for Labyrinth.
Okay, so let's go
We're
we'll
gonna
go for Legend then. We'll go for Legend.
Okay. I was going to give it till 21:30.
Okay. Well, we'll just wait and see then. We'll wait and see. But I'm not going to be disappointed with either one of them because they're good. The only thing is, I've had 2 or 3 people that have been asking me to do the Never Ending Story too. Also, but I'm just not right now. I've been so crying and everything so much from all this stuff with the dog that I just can't handle seeing a Treyu go through all that again for right now.
That is how you know Janet is an OG. When the first thing out of her mouth about Never Ending Story is Atreyu's tragedy.
Well, it's sad. And I've been through so much of this, with fighting with people and having to get a dog and trying to figure out whether I want to. And it's made me think about my dogs I lost again. It's been very emotional for me the last 4 days. So I'm sorry. And plus I'm a girl. So that give me a little bit of leeway.
Okay. No. Yeah, that dog scene was rough.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, because how many kids, all of us in this room tonight, all were kids, and every one of us had a pet. I'm sure it didn't matter if it was a frog or what it was that died. and it's a hard thing to deal with, and it brings back memories. And I don't know a single person that watched that movie that weren't affected by that scene. It was very, very
very well done.
yeah, it was very well done, but it tugged at your heartstrings because we all went through the desperation of saying, no, no, don't die, don't die. You
All
know,
right. Well, Legend
so
has the votes. We will be watching Legend next week.
awesome. I'm excited because I love that movie. I
Which
love
is
Tim Curry.
that's a good movie, and there's been a lot of talk about it on the internet. Thank God, because it is one of those films that it's kind of a cult classic.
Mhm.
You know, you got Tom Cruise before he had the teeth job. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, before he was stuck up.
He's not a big star in this movie. This is a movie that you get Tom Cruise playing, trying to be a good actor before he became Maverick.
Yep.
And this is a very interesting film if you're
It
into
has
that sort of
a lot of characters in it that all have
yeah,
meaningful parts in it. That's another thing I like about it, because
the
you don't get a lot
characters.
of movies like that.
Well, you've also got, I believe it's Phoebe Cates in the lead actress role,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
I think
lady. She's like a
she's
princess.
she's got a special spot in many men's hearts thanks to Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yep. Yeah, she's beautiful. But it was a beautiful, beautiful movie to me. The sets in it is so elaborate and dreamy. You know, I loved them. I thought they were very beautiful.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to discuss about just the set design and the special effects of this movie coming up next week. Which this
Yeah,
is
see, that's one thing I missed about this movie that we watched yesterday was it's really hard to critique about the set design or the music score and all the different things like that, because you can't do that with a cartoon. You know, there's just not, it's not the same draw that you get from each scene when it's a cartoon. It just
I'll
doesn't
have to I'll
have
have
that.
to have you watch the first few episodes of Goblin Slayer sometime soon, so you can reevaluate your opinion on anime and cartoons, because like certain cartoons, like low budget cartoons and things like South Park are
Hmm.
pretty easy. Like the script is good, the voices are good, and that's basically the only thing you can critique on. You can't really in
Yeah,
the music, that's all you can do.
yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
but you have in certain, like when people are there and they're like truly artists, and they might be a little pretentious about their work,
Hmm.
but they put out a product that has a defined look and edge to it. And I'm going to just say that there's certain forms of cartoons or anime or even CGI animation that really go very far for telling a story.
Hmm.
I I, I understand that South Park, that was a big, the Imagination Land was a big departure from what we usually watch, because I love, great set design and great practical effects, and I'm a big sucker for just Jim Henson's workshop shit. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah, Dark
you have me
Crystal.
watch anything with those items, and I'm there, fall down, watch it. I'll watch it 2 or 3 times. It's great,
Hmm.
but I'm so much into that. But then you have shows like Goblin Slayer that they build this really good narrative around the very simple idea, around a simple character, really. But then they give the character a lot of backing, and they let him interact with people, and he's very just, he doesn't change that much. But once people understand that, they realize, well, he's not an Asperger's victim. He's actually just very focused with his life. He's a
Hmm.
man of focus and will and commitment. He is John Wick in this world.
Yeah.
It's a. I'll have to have you watch it, because I think I think that you'll have a change of tune for certain bits of media within the realm of animation. I think you'll just be like, there's certain things that you have to wrap your arms around and be like, this was perfect. It tells a great story. And
Yeah,
then
I don't remember the name of them, but I've seen a couple of cartoons, and it almost looked real. You know, like the scenery, the nature scenes and stuff like that. But I can't remember the name of them right now. But if I remember, I'll send it to you on the message and tell you this is, this is what I was talking about. So, it's almost like some of the video games you play, and they have the cut scenes,
Mhm.
and it's like it's amazing, the graphics and the detail in these, and they're not, reality. So, it just depends. And plus your imagination's better than anything, even real life, basically, I think. But,
I think so.
like the new Dune that came out, I was, really going, because after seeing the original Dune, the scenes, the scenery from the planets and things like that, the visual effects were like awesome. So, like the first Avatar, I thought was really good, just because of the way they were able to pull you into where you were supposed to be in your mind to visualize the beautiful colors and everything that you had on the planet they were on, that our government supposedly was raping, for the for whatever they could get out of it. So I don't know, but it is nice though. It was a good break from all the other movies that we've done to actually just watch something simply for the entertainment value of it. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't get to do that very often. And we sat not side by side, but screen by screen, and laughed our ass off because it was really funny. Laughed at the stuff that we probably shouldn't laugh at, or that our pastor would probably say, that wasn't very good of you to do that. But it was funny. I mean, it was very entertaining, and I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed it. I'd never seen it before, but I do know South Park. So
Yeah, I'm a big
Get
fan
right,
of
get
anything
right in.
Cartman and Stone do.
So
There was a concert that they put on last year in Colorado celebrating all the years of South Park, and they had a really good production. They had some really good background singers. They had a group of like 5 ladies all dressed up like they're basically from South Park, because they're all in puffy little jackets.
yeah,
And you could tell that when they were singing, they kind of let their personality out, because they all had spunk, And then you had Matt and Trey doing their various work on their instruments, like a piano and a guitar. But then they brought in Rush. Yeah, they did that
I
song
printed
live,
these out so I could wave them around.
and it was just a blast to watch. I'll have to send you this video that they broadcast live on YouTube, which I'm sorry, I know a lot of us don't really like YouTube. I don't really like YouTube, but I do like as a means of sharing something that can spread joy. That's what it's supposed to be there for. And this was a really good concert. In the very end, they did the encore song, which was Team America,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
So
No, I thought Team America World Police was a hoot.
we're gonna talk about that here.
Yeah,
Probably.
we're gonna have to watch it too. I mean, that was another movie that I think, after we do so many movies, to do something we know we're just gonna bust a gut on because it's just so ridiculous. But sometimes you just need that type of entertainment, and that's why I can understand why people like what was the name of that movie where that one guy's naked and he's running down the street. It was a huge comedy hit. I can't remember the
Are you
actor's
talking
name.
about a Will Ferrell movie?
Yeah, was it Will Ferrell?
I can't remember. I think it was Old School.
Yeah, something like that. But you watch that type of movie for one reason,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just to laugh your ass off and just not think about nothing, just to stop thinking about everything, just to laugh and forget about all your problems just for a short amount of time. And that's what you need. Everyone needs that sometimes. I mean, like Top Gun Maverick was great, but it's not a movie you go there to just, forget about everything, because it brings up a lot of things that remind you of what's going on, where we're at, when it comes to having to, deal with everything in your life, the problems and stuff that come along with greed and jealousy, someone dying, things like that. But a dumb, goofy movie like that really has no basis on reality, because it's puppets, the puppet sex scene, I just left
They'll never do another Team America World Police. The amount of grievances they have about working with puppets. No.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They don't ever have to do it, because I don't think they could ever make one as good as that one.
Flady, have a good night's rest, bud. Catch you tomorrow, sir.
Thank you for joining us for our rants.
Yeah. I would recommend anybody who has the ability to watch Imaginationland to go see it. I would give it a 8 out of 10. Janet, how would you rate it?
I would give it a 9, because to me, there really isn't a way to critique all the other things that you would normally critique in a movie. It's like you just said, there's only really 2 areas that you could critique it. So that made my numbers go up, because there really wasn't much that I could say was terrible about it. You know what I mean? The only thing I'm not giving it a 10 for is because it's got a lot of things that are not for children, and they really throw a lot of certain people under the bus, different, like Christians and stuff when it comes to the imagination part.
Yeah.
But besides that, there isn't anything bad about it to me. I mean, everything about it is entertainment value. Is almost 99.9. You know what I mean? So it's hard to grade that a bad. So a 9's the highest I've ever given. And that's the reason why. It's because there's no way to critique the other little things, the editing and the the music score. You can't do any of that, because there really isn't anything besides the cartoon and the script. The drawings and the scripts. Basically, that's it. The people in the show look like who they're supposed to be. They sounded like who they were supposed to be, and I laughed my ass off. So,
I gotta thank Travis.
Do what?
Travis J1975 says, "You're welcome for recommending this movie." Yeah, dude. This was a hit. This was a really fun watch.
It was very entertaining, and it's always nice. Even though I loved South Park and I watch as much as I can, you can't watch everything, because you got other stuff going on or whatever, and then that time goes by where you miss those 3 or 4 episodes. And then, a couple of years go by and you still didn't get to watch it. So it's nice, to get to watch something I've never seen, which is great, because you've had me watch, I think, 3 or 4 movies I've never seen before. And it's neat. I like it. It's nice to absorb
something new.
Yeah, absorb something that you didn't get to absorb, but it's in the same realm of good movies. You know what I mean? It's not today's movies, so it's already got an upper hand, basically, because it isn't from today. Which
I actually just saw a really good movie that was out 6 months ago, called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I've heard of that.
It's good.
What's it about?
This lady, and she's trying to live a normal life, but that's not going to be possible, because in other realities, in other parallel worlds, she's not a normal office worker. She's somebody that has a decided, she has a destiny, and it it felt like I was watching a Indian film because there were moments where I was crying one moment, and 20 seconds later, I'm clapping my hands like a seal, happy and overreacting. And then, like, I'm laughing, and then I'm back to crying within like 2 minutes because all this stuff starts coming around, and it the movie comes very full circle. But you come to realize that the reason why she's going through all of this is
Mm-hmm.
because she's a fractured person.
Yeah.
And once she starts being able to deal with the fact that she might be normal here, but somewhere else she's not, the movie quickly goes from act one to act two very fast. And then act two's got an amazing set of fights in it, has a really good score. I would recommend that movie to anybody. Michelle Yeoh and Short Round are in it, yes. It's probably the best movie that came out in 2022, except for Top Gun Maverick, which
Yeah, that was
as a former Navy squid, I can't say yeah Michelle Yeoh over Tom Cruise because I can't. Watching him screw up and screw around and try to down F-35s with a F-14 is pure joy. And I think everybody should watch that, even though he doesn't really he does get 3 in this movie, but it's he's now an ace at the end of that movie.
Mhm.
But you have to remember one of those planes that he uses a plane as a decoy on a heat-seeking missile. As it's coming around, he goes behind another plane and lets the missile take the burning wreck that's getting ready to break up, and he gets rid of that chasing missile. That he does a good job of using his tools to best visibility, but he doesn't technically shoot that one down. Just keep that in mind. It's really good. It's really good. But
I have to remember. And
Top Gun Maverick was all right. I have some critiques about that film, mainly the sounds for the Gatling guns. I just saw an uploaded version where somebody added in some ADR, and the nose cannon on the F-14 sounds about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Maverick is the closest the Navy get being a real military service. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, but see, my dad. I grew up in the Air Force. My dad was in the Air Force, and everyone always made fun of my dad when they would go to the. I guess it's called the NCO club, something like that.
Yeah,
Non-commissioned
officers club.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, non-commissioned officers, whatever that means. But
E4 above.
they always get picked on, the Air Force, by all the other branches, saying they were the Cadillac of military or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that they weren't really in the military and stuff like that. So
If you saw on an Air Force base the food that the Air Force eats, and then you went to an Army base and saw the food that the Army eats, or the Marine Corps, if you saw what they made them eat, and then you look back at the Air Force home cooked meal, you get kind of upset. I'm just gonna say that the Air Force knows how to spend their money. The Army, the Marines, not really so much. And I'll say as a squid that the larger ships do not feed you as well as the smaller ships do. The smaller the ship, the better the cook.
yeah, well, it's easier to make good meals for small groups of people compared to a giant, pans full of beans and stuff like that. It's just not as tasteful.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of, handmade stuff. It's a lot of canned stuff, when you got that many people that you had to feed. But I just remember my dad, going to work, and a couple of times I got to go with him, and I get to feed the snakes and stuff because he was jungle survival instructor. So, I take a bunch of rats into and drop them down into the snake pens and stuff like that. I thought it was really interesting. And I remember one year on the Air Force Base, and it was career day, and you got to pick what business you wanted to go to, because it was gonna see if you want to do that as a career. And me and my best friend, we picked the morgue, so we were able to go to the morgue and spend the whole day at the morgue, and that was super cool. I wish do they still do that now in school?
I don't know if they still do
Kids?
that. When I was in my junior year, I went and did a full day at a radio station, and that was fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did 2 liners, and I did 1 station identification, and then I did some other things, but they wouldn't let me on because they're like, "You're 17, you don't know anything, and you're boring as hell. Get out." And I'm like offended. And now that I'm in my 40s, okay, I get it. I get it. Bowsette, have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. We should probably start wrapping this up, Janet.
Yeah, it's over 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm almost done with my next monster I'm going to eat your ass with.
Oh, well, I got eaten. What was it? Big ice worm, whatever it was called.
Yeah, the big remor has.
Yeah, I got eaten and died.
It happens.
My first death.
That happens. Hopefully you guys roll better next time.
Yeah, that sucks.
Now next week is the 3rd. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the 3rd of March, I think.
Yep.
So we will be the 3rd of March. No, my bad. It'll be the 6th of March. I apologize. And we will be reviewing Ridley Scott's Legend, starring Tom Cruise, Phoebe Cates, Tim Curry, a host of other people, and a lot of money went into their practical effects department. So you can expect to hear me.
Special effects. It's going to be really good.
Very happy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yep. Huh?
Now, I want to ask a question before we leave. Is Saturday our time on or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Saturday. The
4th. I don't want to be late because I want to be early so I can spend some of that money because my bag weighs too much.
Okay. Crazy. Okay. We will be getting together on Saturday, the 4th of March. Roughly about 12:30. I've got Travis and Tiffany coming by to hang out, and I know the Gregs will probably be here as well. So I'll try to keep the noise down on my end, be muting the microphone whenever I'm not trying to talk or they're trying to talk. But that because I know whenever we get the Gregs together, you have to split them apart. Otherwise, they're just like talking the whole time, like the 2 kids that never shut up in study hall or in any other class. But they're good guys. And then Travis will be there, and he'll be wanting to interact and do things. His girlfriend, his girlfriend's going to be in as well. So we will be having a big house over here. Looking forward to it. After Saturday, be back here next Monday night, 7:30 Central Standard Time, or 19:30 for those of you that are enabled with a DD214. Be here at approximately 19:30, like I said. We will talk about that movie Legend. And I thank you so much for being with us. You've chosen to spend your evening with us, and you don't really understand how much I want to shake your hand or give you a brotherly hug or let you have some of this amazing tea, because it really does mean something whenever I get, 10, 12, 15 people watching us over the course of like 2.5 hours. I thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you guys for showing up.
Be well, everybody. Be healthy.